everybody, this is Bruno Ravel from the Defiants and Danger Danger, and you're listening to Blevins Nation. Crank it up.
You push me too far, right to the point of no return. You played with my heart, yeah, so you could watch it crash and burn. You took it all, till I had nothing left to give. You won't make me cry. You know I'm gonna walk away from this. Oh, and now you find out how the story ends. 'Cause you crossed my heart, pulled me into loving a lie.
Blevins Nation Entertainment and BlevinsNation.com, the place to go for all the best in rock and roll music, new rock, and podcast. So sit back, hold tight, and open up your ears. The revolution is here. Now here's your host, Chris.
I guess we need to talk about the Defiants.
That would be cool, yeah.
I mean, well, let's get a little history here. You were in the band Danger Danger. Now, is Danger Danger still playing?
Yeah. We're
Okay.
We're still touring, and we don't really record that much anymore. But we
Right.
we tour when the opportunity arises. We still do the usual M3 rock cruise, those kind of things.
Okay.
We still do all those things. But we're actually going to Japan in December for our 30th anniversary of our first album. Do some shows in Japan.
Awesome. Shoot, yeah. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do a radio show also. I'm a DJ for Rock Rage Radio. I do a show every Sunday night. And I had a guy email me a request, and I thought he had the band name wrong until I looked it up, because, I mean, I knew songs by Danger Danger, but I'd never heard this one. He wanted to hear Monkey Business by Danger Danger, and, of course, first thing popped in my head was Skid Row, Monkey Business. And I was like,
Right.
So I wanted to make sure he was not crazy, so I looked it up, and I was like, oh, shit, I do remember that song now. So...
That's funny.
So I actually played that last night on my show, and it's kind of funny that, now sitting here interviewing, one of the guys from...
Yeah, small world, yeah.
Exactly. So, but yeah, the Defiants. Now, y'all put an album out in 2015. So, and then what's going on now? You have a new one that just came out the 13th of this month. Was that right?
Yes, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah, it was a good, golly, wow. Christmas is here already, but anyway. So, but yeah, so now, and the name of that album is That Just Loses. Don't know if I say it right. There we go. I was wondering how to say that. So the H is silent?
It's phonetically, correct. Zokusho.
Okay. Zokusho.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, what does that
And
mean?
that means, in Japanese, is loosely translated to mean the sequel or the next chapter. We couldn't really come up with a title for the record, and I didn't want to do the obligatory, let's title the record one of the songs off the record,
Right.
So we couldn't really think of it, and then I just started thinking about, a lot of bands would title their second record, number 2 or the Roman numeral 2. So there was a lot of that stuff going through my mind, and then for some reason I thought of the word sequel, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, like a sequel, so I started investigating that word, and I just thought it wasn't cool to say it in English. So was always fascinated with Japan and its culture and anime and all of that stuff. And
Okay.
so I have a bunch of friends that live in Japan, and I asked them, how do you say sequel in Japanese? And there's like 20 different ways to say it. And so I kind of looked at all the different ways to say it. And for some reason, when I saw that word Zokusho, I said, oh, that kind of sounds cool. I was like, is this a proper way to say it? And my friends said, well, it's not really the most common way to say it. It's more of like a slang, like street way to say it. but it definitely that's what it means. And so I was like, well, let's go with that. I go, that's cool.
Very cool.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I know, that is cool. I was looking at it going, what in the world could that mean? And
Yeah.
Japanese did pop out to me, but I was just still like, wow, can't wait to find out what that's all about. So,
Oh, cool. Well, see, it gives us something to talk about.
yes, exactly. Now, what is what is the Defiants? I mean, I hear some 80s. I hear some new catchiness, new sound, new I don't know the exact word I'm looking for, but
I kind of
style.
understand what you.
You know
Yeah, I
what
kind of understand what you're saying. I would say if I had to describe it, it's definitely retro, meaning like it's the genre is definitely 80s rock, AOR, whatever you'd like to call that genre. It's definitely that with more of a modern kind of production techniques,
Okay.
applied to it. Meaning,
Right.
it has more of an updated sound
Yes.
as
Okay.
far as the production, but the style of the music is it's fully ingrained in the 80s.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. And
Yeah,
let's see. Paul. Paul. Is it Lane?
yeah, Lane. Yeah.
Okay. Was thinking that was right. So he replaced. I guess it was the original singer in Danger Danger, and he's singing with y'all. And then who else? Now there's only 3 guys on the cover. Are y'all missing one?
Yeah, the band is myself, Paul, and Rob Marcello, who also was in Danger Danger. Some I didn't want to say replaced Andy, but after Andy left, he ended up playing with us for he still plays with us
Right.
with Danger Danger. So it's myself, Paul, and Rob, and that's how we made the first record. We got a kind of a fill-in drummer to do the tracks, and
Okay.
on this one we just happened to we're fortunate enough to get Steve, also from Danger Danger,
Right. Steve West.
to play the drums on the record, but he's not technically in the group.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's why I was making sure because on the press release, it does have his name on there, but that's why I was asking. I wasn't sure if he was in the band or not.
Yeah, they're kind of trying to milk that for everything they can get out of it, and I get that. That's fine.
Yeah. Was this 3 years in the making? Did y'all hit the road and do anything as the Defiants? In the past.
We just played a couple festivals in Europe, and we were. I think we started this record about a year ago, right about now. Like I think we were writing the record last summer, over the summer, like kind of casually, and then in September we we hit the studio, and so. But again. All of us have families and other obligations, so we weren't able to kind of, focus, say, a month just to record the record. So we kind of did it at our leisure from, I think, September, even through January, because, again, we took, breaks, and Paul had to go to Australia to do some shows, and then Rob disappeared for 2 months. And so there was, there's a lot of that going on now. So it's kind of hard to nail down a specific time to get it all done. So we kind of did it at our leisure, and I think it was done, sometime this year, 2019 in January. And so that's how it came together.
Okay, very cool. Now, are y'all planning on doing any touring or just festivals again with this? Or
we're looking into doing whatever, and whether it be 1 show or 100 shows. We're looking at anything we could possibly be involved with that makes sense. So we have some feelers out there to just see, gauge the interest, to just see what we can put together. And it seems to be that there's more interest for the band to tour in Europe for some reason. I don't know why, but I think it's mainly because of logistics, meaning you could hit more places in a smaller amount of space.
Mm-hmm.
Because Europe tends to have all the countries are all crammed together there. So
yes.
in the States it's a lot harder because, you have your Northeast and your Midwest and the West Coast and what have you. So it's like, we're definitely trying to put together some stuff. It's just going to be a little bit of a challenge because of how far apart we are. Meaning, like, Paul's in Vancouver and I'm on the East Coast, and Rob's in Sweden, and then whoever's going to play drum. So yes, it's a lot of, it would have to be something like if we were going to do the Northeast, then Paul and Rob would fly here and we'd rehearse here and then go play.
Right.
And, and I guess you could figure out the other stuff if you get to play on the West Coast or in Europe. So you get it. It's a little bit of a challenge, but we're definitely up for it. Hopefully something will come together.
That's cool.
Because the fans are so much closer to each other that it seems like there's more of a community over there that is in like kind of ingrained in its team. So, like for instance, when we play in, let's just say for instance, when we play in Greece, half the audience is from the rest of Europe. They're from England, Sweden, Finland. They fly because it's pretty much like if you wanted to go see a show, you said you're in Cincinnati, right?
Yes.
Like if you wanted to go see a show in Buffalo, it's no big deal. You hop on a plane for an hour. It's not like you're going, across the Atlantic or, to LA or something. It's just like an hour flight. So it's the same thing in Europe. When they get on the plane to go from country to country, it's an hour, and it's relatively inexpensive. So there's a lot of that going on in Europe that doesn't go on here because people in America, I think, tend to want to just drive. They don't want to get on a plane.
Yeah, exactly.
So it has to be within a few hours of where they live, and it's so vast and so spread out that it's definitely different. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's cool. I didn't think about it. Being that way that you can just hop on a plane and you're in another country like that quick. They all border on each other. It's crazy. Yeah. That's right, exactly. So, here it's, Canada, U.S., Mexico. I mean, it's just, and it's a huge difference.
It's like, 30 Europes in the United States. Easy.
Yeah. Now, in Japan, like you said, Danger Danger is, you said going into Japan in December, which is awesome. Japan loves 80s rock. I mean, it's ridiculous over there.
It's definitely more of a I don't know what's the right word, of a niche kind of just like a selective group of people now. And then it was back in the day. It was crazy. Then it was like the Beatles and Help or something. It was like pandemonium, But now it's like it's the same thing. It's like bands can still go to Japan even though it's really far away. There's still a good scene there to do some shows. Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Now, Danger Danger, and what's the biggest difference between Danger Danger and the Defiants?
I think I've answered this a few times, but I think the main thing to me, there's two obvious things. One is that in Danger Danger, it was myself and Steve West, the drummer, writing all the songs.
Okay.
And in the Defiants, it's myself and Paul Lane writing all the songs. So obviously there's a difference between, Paul and Steve's approach with myself.
Yes.
So that's a main difference. And then the other thing is that in Danger Danger, back then when we were making records, we were definitely more focused on getting songs on the radio. That was the goal. It wasn't necessarily an artistic thing or a vibe thing. It was more like if we listened to a song that we created and we didn't think it could get on the radio, we would toss it. We would just say no. So it was definitely more of a goal for success.
Right.
We were young kids and we were like, we have to be on the radio. We have to be on MTV. We can't waste any time on our record writing filler tracks because that'll lessen our chances to make it. So that was definitely, the main goal in Danger Danger when we were writing. With the Defiants, we're writing for ourselves as artists and writers, and we're also writing for our audience. So we're not writing with the goal to have a hit song or to have. I mean, don't get me wrong. Paul and myself come from a musical background where we love pop music, country music, music that's memorable. To me, if you can't remember a song after you hear it for the first time, then it's not a good song.
Yes.
I mean, it's got to have something that draws you in, whether it be a crazy drum beat or a cool guitar lick or a great melody or a great lyric. Something has to draw you in and make you remember it.
Yes.
So we like to write songs that people will be able to remember fairly easy, and a lot of times, remember the main hook of the song. So, but we're not trying to write hits. We're just writing what he likes and what I like. I mean,
Yes.
We're trying to please ourselves first, and then we know that if we can get that far, that chances are that our audience is going to like it. So that's the main difference.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's a good answer and a good distinction between the two, because that's where you get your difference in sounds. Even though it is, gosh, 3/4 to this album was actually a whole Danger Danger recording as a different, as different artists. I mean, different names.
It's the same genre, but again, as Danger Danger, Steve and Paul, two very different, totally different writing approaches.
Right.
Two totally different people. So the mixture of either of those guys with me is going to create something different. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be anything other than it being in the same genre and using the same kind of technique and instrumentation,
Yes. And, Frontiers is by far the biggest independent there is. I mean, and that's the way of the world. That's the way of the music world now is independent. And, I mean, you just can't beat Frontiers. They're releasing all my stuff. The stuff I love. You know what I mean?
They're pretty much the last label that is and they're gearing itself toward this audience and this kind of music. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you had a huge following and the means to write and record and distribute a record, you technically don't need Frontiers. But what Frontiers is great about is that they have everything in place when it comes to promotion,
exactly,
and support, and an audience. They have a following. The label itself has a following. Mm-hmm. So while we might not be the part of their audience, might not like us, they're going to hear us.
Yes.
So being exposed to their following is a definite plus. And also, when they like you, they tend to work harder for you. I noticed that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, do y'all usually go, as the Defiants, do y'all go and play over in Italy at their big Frontiers festival they have?
Yeah, we played twice for both releases. We played it at their festival. And this past, what was it, May, I think we went? Yeah, I think when we went to play the festival, it was a little bit different because normally they like to have the record released before the show so that Right, and this time the scheduling I screwed it all up. I didn't hand in the record in time. They were thinking about holding us off and not letting us play the show, and so there was this whole thing. But it ended up working out in the end.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah.
And so many bands that are in that genre and it came out around the same time. Y'all, our own. Frontiers, label, Trickster, Roxy Blue, Tora, who both just released an album this year,
Sure.
And, and then y'all, the Defiants. I mean, it's really good company, really good stuff. So, hell yeah. Well, cool,
it's
man.
Nice to see that. What'd you say?
Oh, I said that's cool.
Yeah. I think it's nice that the Frontiers gives an opportunity to all of the groups, all of the artists to keep creating and get new music out to the fans that want it. I think it's cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Well, it's about time for us to get off here. I know you got no telling how many of these to do today, but so cool. And take it easy and have a congratulations, man. Hope y'all do well.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You be well, man. Thanks.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Hello, everybody out there in rock and roll land. This is Chris with Blevins Nation, and you were just listening to Bruno Ravel, bass player for the Defiants and also Danger Danger. And good stuff there, baby. So definitely go check out the Defiants if they come around your area. And, of course, Danger Danger. You know it. And the Defiants just released a brand new CD a few weeks back, so definitely go check that stuff out. Remember, always check out BlevinsNation.com. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also, don't forget those boys in Voodoo 13. That's right, at v13official.com. Check me out on the radio. That's right, the internet radio. That is rockrageradio.com. Rock and All with Blevins Nation. And I'm on Wednesday nights now instead of Sundays. Wednesday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out all things Blevins Nation, all things Voodoo 13, and all things Rock Rage Radio. I have some interviews coming up myself. That's right, Voodoo 13. So, check it out, stay tuned, and remember, kids, wherever you go, there you are.